The Pope comes to America. The welcome ceremonies so far have been the stuff legends are made of, with pomp and circumstance in abundance, and a Pope-mobile that navigates its way through the streets filled with a sea of adoring millions. The powerful take a break just to spend a moment with His Holiness, and the networks provide continuing coverage. And yet, with all this attention and adulation comes a concern. Will we hear His message? Can Pope Francis cut through the noise of a country divided by the anger and attacks of partisan politics? Even His Holiness, maybe the most popular figure on the world stage, can't escape the political shrapnel. Congressmen boycott his address to Congress because of his position on climate change, and this meeting with Fidel Castro in Cuba before he came to the U.S. was criticized by Republican presidential candidates, even the Catholic ones.
I just think the Pope was wrong. And so the fact is that his infallibility is on religious matters, not on political ones.
But this Pope cares little about our political races. There is but one race he is concerned with, the human race. Keep that in mind and you'll realize his positions are consistent. For instance, he wants better relations between Cuba and the U.S. because he thinks we can help the poor people of Cuba. He is pro-immigration from Mexico and Central America because he wants a better way of life for the immigrants. And he wants us all to help the Middle Eastern war refugees because he sees their suffering. You see, this Pope cares little about countries or politics or boundaries. He cares about people. And he believes if someone is suffering, someone else should help. For those who care too much about the words, they're not getting the message. If you truly want to understand, you need to watch, not listen. This Pope took the name Francis in honor of the great Catholic saint, humanitarian, and philosopher, Saint Francis of Assisi, who is credited with saying, "Preach the gospel at all times. When necessary, use words." Pope Francis preaches with his actions when he makes it his mission to visit prisoners, humbly kneeling down and washing their feet, following the teachings of Christ, who washed his disciples' feet and said, "If I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you ought to wash one another's feet." Meaning we should all serve our fellow man, regardless of our standing or theirs. And when he interrupted his own sermon to make it down through the crowd and kiss the disfigured face of a man who was there looking for love and comfort, he again was preaching with his actions for us all to accept those who are different. This Pope is showing us the way. If we follow his lead and help those whom we try so hard to ignore on a daily basis, if we serve the poor and the needy with humility, we change the world. Again, you need not listen. You need not talk. Just watch and follow. I'm Larry Menti. See you next week.
Atrial fibrillation. It affects your heart, but it can also affect your mind. Why? Because of stroke. The risk of stroke is 5 times higher in those with AFib. By preventing blood clots from forming, AFib patients can lower their risk of stroke. Talk to your doctor. Find out your risk and how to reduce it. Visit myafib.org.